Well, good morning, friends. It's Crazy Cheap Chick. I just got back from the grocery store. I found some fabulous bargains. And I'm not just going to do a grocery haul and show you all the clearance food I got. I'm going to show you how to take that clearance food and turn it into delicious meals. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make croutons. They're really easy. And how to make French onion soup, which is also easy. And you need the croutons for the French onion soup. And salad, if you want salad to go with your soup. Then I found the best thing at Goodwill this week. I couldn't believe it. So if you're looking for a channel about how to save money on food or everyday expenses, Crazy Cheap Chick is for you. And if you stick around to the end, I always tell you a story to entertain you. I think I did okay. I spent $93.98 pre-tax, and I got all this food. That's a ton of food. So let me run through real quick what I got. These Carb Master Hawaiian buns. They're only 4 grams of carbs, and it's 11 grams protein. Anyway, they were $5.49, which seems ridiculous, especially when they had ballpark buns on sale for $1.99. I guess I'm willing to spend quite a bit of money to save 60 calories a bun and less carbs. Then I got these petite medley snacking tomatoes for $5. I use those in my salads. Splurged on these gold onions. I love these things. $4.29 for a package of those. $2.79 for some lettuce. These tomatoes were on sale, so I got 4 tomatoes for $1.30. Some sour cream for $1.99. 2 packages of these Extreme Wellness tortillas. They were $4.69, but I did have a coupon for $2 off if you bought 2. So in essence, they were $3.69. That's still really high. Then I splurged on some cherries. That's one thing I'm willing to splurge on every now and then because they're so healthy. $4.69 for about a pound. And then I got these grapes. They were on sale for $1.29 a pound, and I think that's about what they rang up for. Some beef broth. It was $1.29 a package. It was almost out of butter, so $7.49 for 2 packages of butter. And some blueberries. They were $1.99 a package. They were on sale. 2 for $4. This riced cauliflower, I think I normally spend $2.49. It was on sale for $2.29, but hey, every penny counts. And then these were the sale items I really wanted to stock up on. This refried beans, they're normally $2.49. If you bought 5, it knocked it down to 99 cents each. The black refried beans are my favorite. So 5 of those. A can of refried beans is $1.79 for the same amount. So this is way cheaper. Then they did have cheese on sale for $1.99 a package. I went ahead and got 5 of those. And then this is the few clearance items I got. I got this French baguette for 71 cents. These hamburgers were $5.64. This package of hamburger was $4.21. This package of chicken breast was $2.67. This is not the kind of stuff I would normally buy. It's just like a whipped cream. And it had been $4.99 marked down to 90 cents. So since it was 90 cents, I got 2 of them. And I thought peppermint mocha would probably taste really good on my homemade cocoa mix that we've been drinking quite a bit of. 1 package of tea for 98 cents. It had been $2.79. These little oranges were $1.50, whole bag of them. And the Swiss cheese was $2.49. That was half off. And I normally prefer to get cream, just half and half. But at $5.79, I'm starting to balk at that a little bit. It seems really high to me. So when they have the marked down, processed, bad for you creamer, I've been buying it. And so this was $2.25. I think it's normally $4.99 or $5.99. It's pretty expensive, but it is 0 sugar. But still, it's got a ton of preservatives and chemicals in it. If they have to put that long a list, you know it's not healthy. So that's what I got for my $93. So what are we going to have this week? Well, it's probably pretty apparent we're going to have tacos. And I've got everything for tacos. we're going to have hamburgers. That's why I got the buns and those hamburgers. And I've got lots of potatoes, so I can make fries or, something to go with the hamburgers. We've also got a lot of cottage cheese I need to use up. The fruit is for desserts. I think we're probably going to have quesadillas. I make quesadillas using these, and then we've got all this cheese. So we'll probably have quesadillas one night, maybe with some refried beans or a little cauliflower rice. This is for the tacos. Then I'm going to make some chicken breast and cheese sandwiches out of these buns as well. I know I'm going to make French onion soup. And I've got a ton of food in the freezer. I've got chicken breasts and I've got a roast. And so I've got a lot that we can work with. And this should be a week's worth of food. Now, another thing is if you watch my videos, the last video I did, I had things I'm not going to buy in 2026, and I had a list of things. Well, there's another thing I'm not buying. I haven't bought it in a long time, actually, probably years, and that's microwave popcorn. Unless it was super cheap, I just don't buy that stuff. It's not very healthy. I just use this air popper, and I just buy popcorn. I think I got this on sale really inexpensive. It lasts forever. You just need like half a thing of this and air pop it and add your own butter. It takes a couple of minutes, about the same amount of time as microwave popcorn, and it tastes way better and it's healthier. I told you croutons are simple, easy, and cheap to make. And they're even better if you use clearance bread because you want it kind of dried out, really. So this was 71 cents, and we're going to cut it up. Okay, we got that loaf of bread cut up in crouton shapes. There's not a crouton loaf pan. Of course, you could bake the bread yourself if you wanted, but for 71 cents to buy that day-old bread, I think we're just fine. And the first thing you're going to do is melt about a stick of butter. Now, once you've melted your butter, if you like garlic, you can add garlic. And I'm going to use my garlic press. Open it up, put one in there. Just use a knife to scrape that off in there. So we've got our butter and garlic, and now we're going to add our seasoning. You can add whatever seasoning you like. I'm going to use the salt-free steak seasoning blend. I usually use some kind of blend. And then I have some of this Trader Joe ranch seasoning blend that I bought, I don't know when, and I've never used it. I've not used very much of it, so I'm going to use some of it. I had to melt that butter just a little bit more. It wasn't quite melted. And now we're going to pour this on there and toss it. I'm going to stir those up. I like mine really buttery. Obviously, it's a lot of calories and a lot of fat, so if you're feeling healthy, use less butter. Well, my spices kind of sunk to the bottom. All right, let's toss those. And now the bread is thoroughly coated. I have a pan, I just put some parchment paper down. And then we're going to put them in a 350-degree oven. And we'll kind of stir them once or twice. It'll just take a few minutes to toast them. And that's how you make croutons. It's so simple and easy, and they taste so good. So much better than store-bought. Are they less expensive? I guess it depends what brand you buy. I mean, you are using a whole stick of butter, so that's about $1. And the bread cost us 71 cents. So, it's less than $2, but most store-bought croutons are less than $2. But they taste so much better. And because I'm making these, I'm also going to make some French onion soup. Now, if you want to know how to make that, it's easy also. I've got about half a stick of butter in there and 2 chopped up onions. And we're going to saute these onions to start. I'm going to go ahead and add another 1/4 stick of butter. So that's 3/4 stick of butter total. Those are caramelizing nicely. Our onions are all cooked. And now we're going to add some broth. Beef broth is what I use. I'm just going to use the whole thing. Why not? Those French onion recipes call for sherry. I don't have any. So I'm going to use this. This is vermouth. Similar. How much should we add, you think? I don't want a ton. Going to add some thyme. And you know what? I'm just going to throw in the rest of that butter. Such a small amount. So really, we're up to a stick of butter. And I'm also going to add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. Let's try it. It looks like French onion soup. Has a taste, though. You know what it needs? I think it needs a little bit of honey. Yeah, that's what it needs, honey. Just a little bit of sweet. We don't need very much. That's probably just a couple of tablespoons. In addition to that honey, I'm going to go ahead and add a little seasonal. I don't think the brand matters. And a little bit of salt, because that didn't have any salt in it. Though the butter has a lot of salt on it. I didn't think you'd have to add any, but it tasted like it needed it to me. Oh, yeah. One spoon. Let's try it. Oh, that's good. I've been craving French onion soup. That's really good. But if you want really, really good French onion soup, you've got to make your own broth. You've got to save the broth after you cook a roast and then use that. And then it's so much richer and has little pieces of beef in it. And it's just delightful. The store-bought broth is really just colored salt water. It's not near as good. But once we put our croutons on top and some cheese, it's going to be really good. And if at all possible, use sherry instead of vermouth. But, you know, some people make it with grape juice. They add a little grape juice instead of sherry. It just gives it a sweet flavor. That's why I put the honey in, was to make up for not having sherry. The vermouth, it adds a little something, but it's just not the same as sherry. Now, I'm going to take some croutons, put them on top like that. That's what makes it so good. They're kind of like a cracker almost, right? Put some Swiss cheese on there. I put some croutons on the salad too. And now we're just going to microwave this. Got our cheese all bubbly in there. This is going to taste so good. I can't wait. What'd you say?
Oh, this soup is delicious.
Good, isn't it?
It's awesome.
Spent $19.20 at Goodwill. And I want to show you what I got. This was really one of my better days. This little jacket here, I spent $4.11. And I bought it because I have a shirt I think that's going to match it perfectly. Then the water container right here, they had 99 cents on it. I had a 15% off coupon because I donated several things. And so this was 85 cents with the discount. Look at this. Brand new socks, never open. It says they were originally $5. That must have been a long time ago. It's all these different game themes. They had been $1.49 and they rang up $1.27. Then I got this art over here for my dad's house, and they had put $5.25 on it, but with the discount, it rang up for $4.47. Now, I need to clean up the frame a little bit, but I think that's going to match his house pretty well because his couch is that color, and it's big, and I have a wall. It needs a big piece of art on it, so I think that's going to look nice. But let me show you what I got that was my best find. You won't believe it. A sewing machine. This sewing machine, they marked $9.99. And so I paid, what does that say? $8.50 after the discount for this sewing machine. Let's take it out of the box. It's not that old. It still has the tag on it from when it was shipped. Trying to see a date. I don't see a date. Still has its cover on it. And there it is. I have been wanting a sewing machine. I think that's actually the back of it, isn't it? Ugh, there we go. I have been wanting a sewing machine. And I don't know, about a month ago, I went to an estate sale, and they had a sewing machine older than this, and they wanted like $100 for it, and I couldn't bring myself to spend $100, so I didn't. And this one's fancy, isn't it? And I think this may be the same one that I wouldn't spend $100 on. Anyway, it must not have sold, and they probably donated it, and I ended up getting it for $8.50. I'm guessing. I don't know. I hope it works, and I hope I can use it. I hope it's more. Look at all these different stitches it has on it, though. This is fancy. There's that picture I got for Dad's house that I'm super excited about because it has all the colors in his living room. It has the dark blue, which is the curtains, and it has the color that's in his couch. And his living room, he's got a lot of colors going on. You don't normally do that when you're decorating, have, this much color. This is going to help tie it together. But as you can see, this frame has a lot of scratches. It's dusty, dirty. It's really beat up. And so I'm going to tell you how we're going to fix that. It's this product. I don't know if you've ever used it. It's called Restore a Finish, and it works great. I'm not sure how much shows up in the video, but I cleaned that up, and it looks great. It's going to look great in Dad's living room. Friends, thanks for sticking it out this far. If you do, I usually like to share information with you that I think is helpful in everyday life, or tell you a story, and I'm going to do both. So I got to thinking about words or phrases that I use that kind of smooth life over. And all but one of these I learned from other people. Now, the first one I'm going to share with you is one that I learned from John Wayne because he uses it on me. Whenever I'm getting worked up and I'm telling a big story and I'm getting all dramatic and I'm mad, he'll go, "Are you venting or are you asking for my help?" And that always makes me stop and think, oh, well, no, I'm just telling you. I don't want you to do anything. So the next time someone's all worked up, try that. Are you venting to me or are you asking for my help? And that kind of helps you know where they're coming from, because sometimes people do want you to fix it. They do want your help. But most of the time, they just want you to listen. Number 2, I went to lunch with 3 of my friends this week. Now, this was a huge negotiation because everyone's busy. 2 of the ladies still work. And so finding a date and time was hard enough. And I was negotiating all of that. Well, this date works for me and this date, yeah. And I'm just not a super patient person. So once we had the date down, I didn't want to go through well, where do you want to go? I don't care. Where do you like? I don't know. I didn't want to go through all that. And so I just texted three options. I like Olive Garden, Spin Pizza, and Miguel's Mexican. And then another lady said, I like Olive Garden. And then another one said, yeah, I could do Olive Garden. So by giving people options, it narrows it down. Now, who the big winner is me. You know why? Because I picked the first 3 options. So no matter what they landed on, I knew it was going to be someplace I liked. Any negotiation, the person who makes the first offer is always in the strongest position. And you should remember that. In any negotiation, the person who makes the first offer is in the strongest position. Number 3 is one I learned from a friend of mine. She was the best at getting around rules. And so if she had something to return and maybe the store had a 30-day return policy, she would be like, well, is there any way we can bend the rules? Or what would you do if you were me? She was very good at really what she was doing was asking for help in an indirect way. And so she never threw a fit because that's inappropriate. You're crazy. If you're in a store jumping up and down and yelling and screaming and demanding to talk to the manager, you're not getting what you want. So don't do that. The better way is to do what my friend would do. is there a way we can get around this? Is there a way we can bend the rules? Is there someone else I could talk to that you think she would, and she just wouldn't give up. She was very persistent. She just wouldn't leave, basically, until she got what she wanted. And so I have learned that works about 85% of the time, just saying, what would you do if you were me in this situation? Because they know the system. They work there. They know the ways around the rules. And so asking for help usually gets you more than throwing a fit. So remember that. The number 4 phrase that I learned, that I wish I would have learned it when I was young. I didn't learn it till I was older. And this was also from a friend. Sometimes I would ask her for something and she would go, I'm so sorry, I can't. Or I wish I could help you out, but no. And that was it, no explanation. And I would sometimes feel frustrated, and I would tell John Wayne, I don't know. And he'd go, well, does she owe you an explanation? And I thought about that, and I'm like, no, she doesn't owe me an explanation. She can't do it. It doesn't matter the reason. It's none of my business why she can't do it. And so I learned from her that when people ask me to do something for them, and for whatever reason I can't do it, I do not owe them an explanation as to why. I can just say, I'm sorry, no. I wish I could help you out, but I can't. I don't have to tell them why. The why may be, I'm exhausted. Or you're asking me to watch your dog for the weekend? That dog's crazy. No, that dog jumps on me. No, that dog's mean. It doesn't matter what the reason is. And you don't have to give people a detailed explanation. You just tell them, I'm sorry, I can't. And if they press you on it, you just repeat it. I'm sorry, I can't. Wish I could, can't. Now, the 5th one I learned on my own. So this one is an original me. When I was selling cars, I had spent 2 or 3 hours with people showing them different cars. And it would seem like maybe they were leaning towards one. I would say something like, because remember, I'm not patient. I would say something like, if we can come to terms, do you want to buy this car? And then just shut up, just not say anything else. The pertinent word in that sentence, if we can come to terms, do you want to buy this car? The pertinent word is if. Because they want to buy a car. We already know that. You don't spend 2 hours in a car dealership. It's like going to the dentist. You have to do it occasionally, but most people don't like it. And so if they're there, they want or have to buy a car. So that doesn't matter. What matters is, do you want this car? And I realize that this car is dependent on something. Maybe what it costs, or what the payment's going to be, or the interest rate, or what I'm giving you for your trade-in. But that's how you start narrowing it down. And so oftentimes we use that word if without realizing it. If you're not busy, do you want to go to dinner on Saturday? We're conditioning it. And that kind of eases things for people when you say if, because you're not putting them on the spot. You're saying, I realize there may be reasons that this car isn't right for you, or that you're not free on Friday. So the word if is an easy word to use that signals to people you're trying to reach an agreement or connect with them, but you realize it's dependent on something. Maybe, them being free or the price of a vehicle. It doesn't matter. If is a good word to use. As I told you my story from the car dealership, I'm going to tell you another story from the car dealership, and I hope you learned something from it. Car dealerships at that time, back in the 90s, worked on what was called an up system. I don't know if they still do. But they had a board with the salesman's name, and you went in order as customers came in. Because there was, like 10 car salesmen, there's never 10 customers there. So it's just whenever it's your turn. And it was the luck of the draw what customer you got. But it was kind of like playing cards, because you could pass. When someone came in, you could say, I don't want that person. And the person right after you could say, do you want them? and they could say yes or no. If they said no, then you had to take the customer. But I quickly learned I had a group that I connected with better and sold cars to better than others, and that there were certain people I did not connect with. Well, what my sweet spot was families and couples. That's what I was looking for. A young family with kids, or a couple, even an older couple. One day, and actually I can tell you the exact day, it was December 23rd, and it was getting close to Christmas, and people, they're in that funky, I don't want to work mood. And this guy pulls onto the lot, and he's in a big truck like you haul stuff in. And he gets out and he has on overalls and a feed cap, and he's dirty like he's been working. And the guy who was up goes, I don't want to go out there and help him. It's cold, and he just looks like someone who's browsing to him. And I looked at that guy and I'm like, oh, that guy looks like my grandpa, and he just sold something. Whether it was a load of hogs, a load of cattle, or a bunch of grain, I don't know. I don't know what was in the back of that truck that he just sold, but he looked like he was flush with money to me. And so he turns to me and he goes, you want him? And I'm like, because you never want to look too eager, because he'll take it back. And I'm like, I guess. But I really did want that guy. And so I went out there and I started talking to him. And at first, he's a little standoffish because, I'm a young lady and he's an older guy. But we quickly established a connection because I grew up on a farm. I'm a farm girl. And, I'm like, where you been? So he tells me, we get talking farming, and I think we knew people in common, and, Then he goes, I've been up here 2 or 3 times and looked at your cars when you were closed. And so he'd already pre-done his shopping, is what he's telling me. And he goes, I had a pretty good year, and I want to buy 3 cars for my 3 kids for Christmas. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what do you have in mind? Like, that's not unusual for someone to come in and buy 3 cars. And so he's like, well, I think I want this one, this one, this one. They're all real similar, almost the same price. So I ended up writing up and selling 3 cars in one day, which they call a hat trick. And you usually got a bonus for that. So if you could sell 3 cars in one day, that's a big deal. So, of course, that guy's like just hitting himself over the head, because that should have been his customer. And he passed based on how the guy looked. Never, ever make assumptions about people. The people that look wealthy often had the worst credit, and the people that had on dirty overalls were rolling in the dough. So don't make assumptions about people. That's my story. I really want to hear, what are your phrases or your words that you use or have found helpful in difficult situations? Like, remember, I just told you, are you venting or do you want my help? What do you say that you have found very, very helpful? On any of this information helpful, please give me a thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe, all of that rigmarole. And it helps me out, really does help me out, and I appreciate it. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.